Howdy, everybody. It's samchoate. I had an idea as I was typing a very long comment that nobody is ever going to take the time to read on Instagram, that instead of doing that and wasting my time, I would start a video and instead react to something I saw on Instagram. It's a post from somebody I follow named Promo God. It's like music promotion and kind of motivational type stuff. One day you'll thank yourself for not giving up on your music. Keep going. The biggest moments happen when you least expect it. So surface level, like obviously it's meant to be like a motivational thing, not taking away from that. But stuff like this often evokes thoughts for me. And gosh, I wonder if I have reverb on my voice right now. That would be hilarious. Oh, good. I turned it off, I believe. Okay. Yeah, so it often evokes a lot of thoughts for me. And I thought I would share those here. So most of it, well, I shouldn't say most of it. Some of it, I feel like some people will immediately respond with like, well, you're overthinking it, Sam. Like, it's not that deep. Okay, I don't know. Like, this is the way my brain works. Everybody else is allowed to post stuff. So I am too. I'm going to grab a pop filter for this. It fell earlier. It's covered in fuzz. Come back. Focus. Hey, there we go. So anyways, yeah, I guess I get a little annoyed and defensive whenever people are like, it's not that deep, just because I really like having these conversations. I think they're valuable. And whenever someone's saying it's not that deep, it's like an excuse to not think hard, and it's the equivalent of being in school and thinking that being smart is not cool. So I think being smart's super cool. So I'm not saying I'm the smartest person on the planet. I'm not. But anyways, so one day you'll thank yourself for not giving up on your music. The beginning of my response was kind of just, that's a very transient idea that like there's going to be, and I think it's easy to fall into this trap that one day you're going to reach a singular moment where you go, I made it. And I just don't believe in that, because I've had so many moments where I've made it. I've had so many moments where something big I had planned completely fell apart. And especially in the music industry, but just in life in general, I think that life goes on, and the only day that you'll really have the perspective necessary for making a decision, like being glad or not that you did or didn't give up on your music, is like the last day you're alive if you know you're dying, like on your deathbed. Maybe you'll have some days towards the end of your life where you're reflecting and either being glad or wishing you had done something different. But I definitely agree with like the biggest moments happen when you least expect it. Sure, absolutely. In that way, it can be very random, which can be frustrating as well. The life of an artist on the outside looks like you're very talented and you've got all these things going for you and people love your music and your music starts to blow up. When in a lot of cases, it's having the money to put into promotion and advertising for your music so that your music, I hate to say it, in a lot of ways, or a lot of times, regardless of how good or bad it is, because a lot of this is subjective. But regardless, it's like if you put it out in front of the entire world, you'll have some people that like it, you know? If I could get 300 million people to hear my song, then I think a good portion of them would really enjoy it. I do. I think there would be a lot of indie rock music fans that would really dig my latest single, but the way that they monetize that is they go, well, we're only going to show your song to like 2 people and one of them will like it. So you have to pay in order to get in front of that audience in hopes that, not that everyone will like it unless you're a pop artist, but in hopes that you will find the correct people. You'll cast the widest net, in other words. The keep going part, also, it reminded me of the sunk cost fallacy, which is, I'm probably going to butcher it, but in a nutshell is when when you're doing something and you've been doing it for a while, regardless of the outcome, you're inclined to continue doing it just based on the fact that you've been doing it for so long. You've already sunk all of this work and effort and time into it, so you've got to see it through, regardless of whether it's working or not. And like, music is hard. Music is really fucking hard, man. It can be so random and so difficult and so heartbreaking at times, and people don't realize that because they only pay attention when you're successful. And it's heartbreaking to me, honestly. It's heartbreaking to me that art and music aren't more highly regarded, and, well, not even highly regarded, but that the rubber doesn't meet the road, in the sense that, like, being an artist it's like you're either flat broke or extremely rich. And it's kind of weird. Like, I think there's a healthy bit of skepticism surrounding the ones that are incredibly rich, because they become so incredibly successful and so incredibly rich. And it's not to say that that's a bad thing. I would like to be wealthy. I would like to be wealthy from my music. But you reach a point where you reach Oprah status or The Rock status, slight reference there to the Maui situation, where I think that there's a healthy amount of skepticism involved. In fact, in that situation, I think there's like a lot of healthy cynicism to be involved. I think that it's an absolute, of course, tragedy, but also an incredibly sketchy, shady situation when it comes to people swooping in and attempting to buy this property up and then redevelop it. It's just fucking disgusting, honestly. So anyways, the whole one day you'll thank yourself for not giving up on your music. I know that I'm latching on to just this very specific wording of it, but it is rooted in this idea that one day things will be easier, and that is just absolutely false. There will not be a day where your problems melt away. You can't think that way. You have to continue immersing yourself in difficulty, like the gym or cold exposure, or tackling huge goals, or not huge goals, but sizable, challenging goals for you, so that you are more easily capable to withstand the everyday difficulties of real life. And that's just realistic. So I don't believe that there will be one day in particular where I go, well, there might be one day, but it's like, and then my life will keep going and I might feel bad about it 15 minutes later. They're just feelings. So I hope that one day, how I would reword this is I would say that I hope that one day my music will pay off. I hope that one day I will be existing within an infrastructure that I and my community have built, so that my music is impacting people's lives. I'm making a healthy living from it, and I'm making the world a better place by doing what I do. But I think that there's a lot of selfishness, self-centeredness, greed, just hedonism, and outright just stupid, flashy bullshit that's wrapped up in pop and hip hop these days. And to an extent always has been with hip hop. It's not trash talking on hip hop. I like a lot of hip hop, but let's be real, like, I'm speaking facts. And a lot of that shit's fake too. It's absolutely fake. Whether it's legitimately fake chains and jewelry and fake whatever, or just the record label owns it or whatever. A lot of those artists are not owning their identities and their music, and sometimes even the places that they're staying, or they're just kind of, a lot of the mainstream artists are very much just kind of pawns in the music industry, which is very unfortunate. Yeah, and it's like I have all of this stuff bouncing around in my head, and yet I still want to do music. And it's like, do I? What? Like, I do, but to what capacity? Because I don't want to be like, people view Oprah as this wildly successful celebrity, entertainer, talk show host, philanthropist, but it's like, I don't trust her, honestly. I imagine there's a lot of good that she's done for the world. I'd have to do some research, but people like that freak me out a little bit. They reach a point where it stops being about, it's like at the beginning, you need more because you yourself are not taken care of. Your needs are not met yet. And then comes the philanthropy stage. And then after that, you keep growing, and it's like, that comes just like greed, dude. So I digress, not trying to just pick on one person who I definitely haven't done a lot of research on. But just in general, I find celebrities a bit icky because people so blindly worship them and treat them as if they're not regular human beings, but something more, and they're not. And if anything, they have the money, power, and connections to do lots of shady shit that stays locked behind closed doors. Insert Epstein here, Let's see the list, for example. And, it just gets buried. So going back to the entertainment industry, I'm leery of like what it takes to become incredibly successful, because I don't know how much of that is healthy for people, I suppose. And I'm kind of going off in the weeds at the moment, really thinking through this stuff. So it's not to say that everything I've said in this video is my hard stance belief for the rest of my life. Dig it up in 10 years, hold it against me, like people like to do on Twitter. But these are things that I'm thinking about, and it's not to say I don't want to do music. I love music. The problem kind of is that I love music, and that I feel like a lot of that love has been kind of taken advantage of, has been taken for granted, and has been taken advantage of, and has just been exploited. And it feels like to continue down certain paths in music is to make yourself more exploitable, and that's not what I want to do. I want to make sure that I'm making a positive impact on the world, and that's really difficult to do. It's really difficult to do, genuinely. It's a lot of pressure, and a lot of people don't exist with that kind of pressure, and they can be happy, but I don't know if it's a question of lessening the pressure or if it's a question of using the pressure to figure out how to do the things I want to do, or figuring out what those things are exactly. But I hope that my music pays off. I hope that one day I can be sitting somewhere and feeling like, man, this is paying off, and that I can continue to keep that machine running. And by machine, it'll involve other people, and that the community will grow. And I suppose just that our needs will be met, we'll be healthy, we can all get health care when we need it, and we can afford groceries, and we can reach the tip of the hierarchy of needs pyramid and self-actualize and be giving back to the community and making our world around us a better place. Because right now it feels like I need so much. It feels like my needs are not met, like at the bottom. That might be interesting to pull up the hierarchy of needs. I'll pull it up on the screen. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of course, if you're not familiar. You've got physiological needs: air, water, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, reproduction. Safety needs: personal security, employment, resources, health, property. Love and belonging: friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. Esteem: respect, self-esteem, status, recognition, strength, freedom, self-actualization, desire to become the most that one can be. So some of us are living without some of these physiological needs. I mean, many people in the world, but there are plenty of people in America living without these, as well as safety needs. It says health. I could be healthier. I could use a visit to the doctor, but I am afraid of going because of how expensive it will be. And it's because I don't have enough money. It's both the fact that I'm not making enough money as well as my cost of living is too expensive. You know, it's just everything is out of balance. It's out of whack right now. I have some decent friendships. That's not to downplay them. Like I wish I was closer with them. That's all. I wish that I had time to do more things with them, but instead I'm stuck thinking about how to make money all the time, I feel. And this is not to like complain at all. This is to talk about things and bring to light things that you may be struggling with. And not that I hope you are, but just that I hope that this video might be helpful just to spread some empathy, you know. So, yeah, as stated, I hope that one day I do sit there and go, man, this is really paying off. Things are going well. But that does not mean that I can like stop and get comfortable, basically. Maybe someday I can, but it's not useful for me to think that because I just don't think that's how life works. And maybe that is the wrong mindset, but I legitimately don't. Not unless you are uber rich, uber powerful, but then it's like, is that really a comfortable, safe, happy living? It seems very stressful to me, unless no one knows who you are. That would be nice. But yeah, I think those were my main thoughts. A lot of stuff here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video, and I hope that everybody out there watching is doing well, and that you're all. I hope that you're comfortable and that you're healthy, and that you're happy and you've got good relationships with people. And if you're interested in checking out any of my music, I'll link to that below, as well as Patreon. What else? TikTok, my Twitch, where I stream every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time, and all the other good links. There's links to book me, to subscribe to my email newsletter that I just started, actually today, as of when I recorded this video today. And yeah, and it's real chill. Like I don't spam people. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just keeping you up to date or spreading stuff kind of like this that might be on my mind. So if that interests you, there's a form to sign up in the Linktree link below, or wherever, depending on what website this is on. But that should be there. So yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.